Our next guest is here to help us get smart on an illness that has quite a history. Please welcome Ms. Maureen Rimer from the Forsyth County Department of Public Health to discuss tuberculosis. Good afternoon, Maureen.
Good afternoon.
So, I didn't give your full title because you got that long word in that. So I want, if you would, let our listeners hear your official title. My
official title. So I am a public health nurse, and I work in the Communicable Disease Division at the Health Department.
All right. The Communicable Disease Division. Yes. This is such a lovely word to have such a terrible meaning, perhaps.
Yeah.
But so tuberculosis has been around, and we've heard about it. But what kind of illness is it, and why are we hearing so much about it now?
So I wanted to talk to everybody about it now. Next week is World TB Day, so it's an awareness day globally. And then currently in the news, we've had an outbreak that's been publicized in Kansas City, and that was another reason I wanted to bring it to our attention. A lot of people think TB's gone. It is not gone.
No, it's not. And that's why we're glad you're here on SNC, empowering you to help our listeners learn more and to remember about this disease. So how does one get the disease, or what conditions make it spread easily?
Okay. So it's spread through the air when somebody with TB, they cough, they sing, they sneeze, and it spews.
What about during an interview?
During an interview, yes. Okay. If I was sick with TB, I would not be here.
Okay, great.
But it's spread through the air, and then somebody walks by that person and breathes into the germ, and it first infects the lung. It should be known, that a third of the world population is infected with the germ that causes tuberculosis.
Wow. So the germ is out there.
It sure is. Now, only 5% of those people infected actually go on to get the disease. And you had asked, what makes somebody more susceptible to getting sick with the disease? So anything that weakens your immune system will put you at risk for developing TB once you're infected with that germ.
Okay, and then have we had any local cases?
Yeah, so we average maybe 8 to 10 cases a year here in Forsyth County.
Wow, didn't know that. And again, so that's why we need to really listen, listeners, to this,
right.
To Maureen tell us about how can we protect ourselves.
So get yourself tested, number one, to see if you have been infected with the germ. Again, if you've been infected with that germ, it kind of lays dormant in your body. We usually, to put it in layman's term, it goes to sleep. And the body kind of encapsulates it, and it just holds it there. And then again, if something weakens your immune system, it can develop into disease. Somebody will develop a cough, fever, weight loss, night sweats. Often these people are losing a lot of weight.
Oh, so the fact that I lost a lot of weight might not be a good thing. No.
Well, it's unintentional weight loss.
Okay. There's another term that I think I've heard before called latent TB. What does that mean?
So latent TB is that population of people, 1/3 of the planet, that have been infected with the germ, and it's just lying dormant. It's not spreadable at that point. You can't give it to anybody, and it doesn't make you sick at that point. But there is treatment at that point that you can kill that germ so that in the future it never does develop into disease.
Okay. And I know we didn't like doing this, but what about wearing a mask? That during the COVID, everybody was wearing masks. How does that play into
so that was a good thing when it came to tuberculosis and flu and a whole bunch of other things. People that are infectious, once they start with the treatments that we give them, usually are no longer infectious within 2 to 4 weeks. Now, the treatment goes on 6 months, 9 months, even up to a year, depending on what type of treatment they're getting and where the TB has affected them. So people can get TB anywhere, TB of the bone, TB of the lungs is the big one that you hear about, but you can get it in the brain, you can get it in the eye.
Wow.
Women can get it in the uterus. It's just unbelievable where it can infect somebody.
Now, that is definitely new information to me. I've always just heard about the lungs.
Right.
But it's anywhere in the body.
Anywhere.
Then are there any other ways we can protect against it?
If you see somebody that's sick, kind of encourage them to go see a doctor. And that's really about it. So, anytime somebody coughs near you or sneezes, we tend to back up now just because of the whole COVID era. But, protect yourself.
Great. Well, okay, you mentioned that this is an awareness week. Tell us again about what this week is.
Okay, so on March 24th, it is World TB Day, and that is a day where we just try to make people aware that this is a very bad disease, and it is not gone, and we just need to be aware of it, both doctors and people. It is not gone.
Not gone.
No.
Wow. Well, and I want to thank you for coming in. And before you go, I do want to share an inside joke that my uncle did with my wife. The first time he met her, we were walking, and he started coughing, and then he said, excuse me, I got TB. But he didn't have it, though.
Okay, that's a good thing.
But that's one way to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they used to call it all sorts of crazy things. Back in the 1800s, they were lungers. Have you heard that?
Lungers.
Or consumption.
Okay.
Because it kind of consumed the body. That's where those things came from.
Well,
and so
now we know.
Yeah.
We got a day to recognize and be aware of this. And I want to thank you again for coming and being a part of Empowering You.
All right. Well, very good. And in my research before this radio interview, I did look up and found a lot of famous people that had tuberculosis and actually died of tuberculosis. Wow. So we had a couple of our presidents, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, both died of tuberculosis. Vivian Leigh, the actress from Gone with the Wind, she died with TB. Adolf Hitler had TB. King Tut had TB. They found that when they, exhumed the mummy and did the autopsy or whatever they call it when somebody's already dead. Yeah. But lots of famous people.
Well, and we don't want any of our listeners to become a part of that group. So,
we don't. We'd like you to be famous, but not with TB.
Excellent. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.